In my conversations with my grandfather, he often points to luck when asked about his immigration experience from China to Vietnam and final settlement in the United States. With more clarity, I later discovered that Grandpa's faith in Buddhism and strong roots, persistence, and resilience became the motivational factors for endurance, tolerance, and acceptance of life circumstances. Ga Kỳ Nang is a term used by the Thieu Chau people of China to describe our own people. Thieu Chau people is among the larger dialect groups who have immigrated to Southeast Asia between the 18th and 20th century due to overpopulation in Fujian province. Today, Thieu Chau people are densely populated in Shantou and Chaozhou regions of eastern Guangdong province and throughout Southeast Asia. This video will focus on the life of my grandfather and document how his experience with Vietnam, Civil War, and forced displacement shaped his perceptions and adjustment to a new life in the United States. My grandfather is a Thieu Chau who left his family in Chaoyang at the age of 18 to escape China's military draft in 1948. During this time, he was not allowed to visit or communicate with his family in China and had to rely on secret written communications between Vietnam and China through a third party in Hong Kong. Upon arrival in Vietnam, Grandpa sought out multiple occupations ranging from driver to busboy to manual labor work. He later married my grandmother, a Thieu Chau woman born in Vietnam, after his settlement in Saigon City and ultimate relocation to Ya Gai, a southern rural district of Bac Lieu province. Grandpa quickly became a well-respected businessman with 9 children and 3 houses built over the course of 3 decades. According to Grandpa, Thieu Chau people can live anywhere. Our people tend to choose locations within close proximity to water and in the countryside. Especially with entrepreneurship and adaptability as central to our cultural makeup, education for my parents, uncles, and aunts were optional and not required. Grandpa's greatest success was selling ice because it required very little capital. Over time, our family business expanded to selling snacks, cosmetics, liquor, and soda, all this in the midst of ongoing war. Having lived through several wars and conflicts in Vietnam since 1954, our family ultimately lost our homes, one house at a time, to the communist government after the fall of Saigon in 1975. My grandfather was displaced into the rural mountains for 3 years of re-education. My extended family, uncles and aunts, cousins, relatives near and distant, were forced to leave Vietnam with no particular destination in mind. Having to flee in small packs on overcrowded, leaky boats, their separate journeys made it to refugee camps and eventual sponsorship to the United States with assistance from local churches and American families as a response to the Indochina Migration and Refugee Act of 1975. Grandpa's immigration experience tells a story of a man who's crossed multiple borders, not at will, but due to political wars. It is a story of one man's courage, hard labor, and human spirit to build and continue to rebuild his family unity and possessions one settlement at a time. Yet, his memories still reminisce back to the little house shared with his family and 10 younger siblings in Chaoyang, China, over 80 years later.
Ráng là gia đình đi chơi.
trả lại những kỷ niệm buồn vui. Ngày xanh đã theo thời gian qua mất rồi, ngồi viết tâm sự nhớ ngược về quá khứ.
After the fall of 1975, the Vietnamese government began implementing policies based on communist ideology, which included re-education and torture, the closing of businesses owned by ethnic Chinese, and forced relocation of citizens from urban to rural areas. Approximately 400,000 Vietnamese fled by boat from their homeland, and many have encountered pirate attacks during their sojourn. We were among the boat people who endured severe migration traumas and inadequate camp conditions. Indeed, it is Grandpa's beliefs in Buddhism and strong roots, persistence, and resilience that have helped our family overcome life's challenges. His continued emphasis on family unity have cultivated and transformed each of our lives, from old to young, to embrace rather than to neglect our own cultural identities to life in the United States as we continue to search for the right balance between rooted traditions and acculturation.
Sometimes the wind comes out of nowhere and knocks you off your feet. And look, see my tears, they fill the whole night sky. The whole night sky. Sometimes the wind comes out of nowhere and knocks you sideways.